I enjoy being in the community for many reasons. Not just because it has offered me a platform to preach, but primarily for the many lessons I get to learn every day. Lessons to help address the shortcomings in my character and personality. And I guess that's why many people are here, to learn something from others that can add value in their own lives. There is an old story of Harishchandra, a king whose principle was to be faithful, to be truthful, to be true to his word. At one time, having been taken prisoner, he was sold into the house of a person who made him a keeper of the graveyard. And one day he saw his wife coming there, from whom he had been separated many years. His wife was bringing his son who had died to be buried there. A great struggle went on in his mind when he saw that it was his own child and his own wife, whom he had not seen for so many years. She was so poor that she could not pay the money that was needed for the burial, and here he was appointed by his master to ask money for the work he had to do. But though he recognized his wife, he never said, "I am your husband." He recognized his child, but never allowed his heart to show his deep sadness. He did not allow her to enter without paying, for he was appointed for that purpose. He went through a sorrow which was worse than death. Yet he kept to his principle. In this house we have spoken about relationships. We learned about character and personality. In this house we have touched on sales. In this house we have dealt with entrepreneurship. In this house we speak about leadership almost daily. And as we do, the same words keep coming back. And many of them leading to integrity and dependability. How true am I to my word? I'm sure as we sit here listening there's someone in our lives we look up to, either for his wealth or for his success in a certain field, but success doesn't just land. It does not just come. You build up to it through a series of events that eventually give you the training you require to be who you are destined to be. Long-term success cannot be achieved outside of a character of integrity and dependability. Your word must mean something to people so they can trust you and want to do business with you. It's not just about money. It's not enough to have working capital in business. It's not enough to come from a rich family. Your character and personality have a much bigger role to play in making your dreams reality. King Harishchandra, from the story above, was a wealthy man. Like many kings are, he had a wife and a son. Then to test his character, some people decided to test him for honor, integrity, and dependability. He gave away his kingship, meaning he could no longer exercise his authority as he would as a king. One day, those to whom he relinquished his throne to came to him while on his way to cross the border of the neighboring country. They forced him to pay a tax to them as he was no longer a king. Having no money to pay them, he instead sold his wife and child to them as slaves, and he himself entered into service. His duties required him to collect money at the cemetery for his masters. In other words, anyone who needed to bury someone had to pay, and he had to be the one to collect that money and return it to his masters. Now, one day he happened to face his own wife who needed to bury the body of his dead son. Here he was to go through the most difficult task anyone would ever face in his life. 1. It was his wife. 2. His one and only son had died. It's even better when you have sold your loved ones and you know they are still alive. His wife came to him with a dead son, and he had to decide between keeping his word and allowing his son to be buried. The ultimate test of integrity and dependability. You know you have your boss safe keys, but you are desperate for money. In that safe, you have what you need to save yourself and your family from misery. What do? Harishchandra's test is probably the most extreme test anyone would ever want to go through, but the truth is no meaningful success can be achieved in any discipline in this life unless we are true to our words. Who are we deceiving when we promise to assist and we don't? Who are we deceiving when we promise to contribute and we don't? Who are we deceiving when we promise to come and we don't? Who are we deceiving when we promise to sing and we don't? Who are we deceiving when we keep making promises without realizing them? Man creates his own reality. He is the master of his own destiny. We aspire to be comfortable, but to experience real joy, your word and how you keep to it sometimes have to be tested. Just like King Harris Chandra, who was able to pass the test of integrity and dependability. God saw how true he was to his word and restored him to his kingdom with more than he had when it was taken away from him. To ask you to sell your spouse is extreme. To ask you to give away your only child sounds cruel. To ask you to give away your comfort and subject yourself to slavery sounds absolutely abominable. And I am sure it might never get to that extreme, perhaps not in this lifetime. But what is important to note is, in the community, as we aspire for greatness, as we seek for prosperity, being sincere, being true to your word become one of the most important ingredients. We all talk of heaven or going to heaven, but truth is we can actually experience heaven here on earth with a heart that's sincere, with a heart that lives to serve others with love and integrity. That is the essence of true leadership. May God continue to guide us. May God bless us in the community. May God bless Camwoud-SA. Amen. Till next time, this was the Sunday Preacher.
Welcome to Camwoud-SA TV. Empower, educate, entertain. Like, share, subscribe.